The clock is ticking for the International Space Station, with NASA last week declaring plans to crash ISS back to the Earth in 2031. The iconic piece of space infrastructure will be nudged out of its orbit and eventually meet its watery demise when it plunges into the ocean and smashes into pieces. That day will mark the end of 32 years of space station construction, experiments, photography, and since November 2000, continuous human habitation, all while hurtling around the planet once every 90 minutes or so. On New Year's Eve, NASA extended the space station's operation from 2024 to 2030, given the space station's decades of international cooperation, not to mention the cash needed to put it up and running. So why is ISS being retired? The space station's international focus has been a wonderful thing in any way. The US and Russia announced plans to build it together in 1993, and Japanese, Canadian, and European Space Agency signed on later. The first segment of the space station, the Zarya Control Module, launched aboard the Russian Proton rocket from Baikonur Cosmodrome, Kazakhstan in 1998. Tons of parts have been added, removed, and replaced over the years since. It was never the idea that the space station would be permanent. This is partly because, quite simply, it's gunking up the wearing out. It's not just humans living on board. Bacteria, fungi, and other microbes survive and thrive there too. Imagine living in a caravan and you couldn't open the windows, but you have to keep it clean. The outer surface you're becoming onto. The space station orbits about 400 kilometers above the Earth's surface. Any objects below about 500 kilometers naturally fall back to Earth, so the space station is regularly boosted up to counter this effect. Docking and undocking of the vehicles ferrying supplies and people to and fro can put a strain on the space station structure, and various cracks and leaks have been patched up over the years. The constant maintenance and upkeep needed to keep the station in working condition or working order and support inhabitants are expensive, so doing away with the space station will save plenty of cash. For instance, NASA estimates savings to be approximately $1.3 billion in 2031, ramping up to $1.8 billion by 2033, that could be put towards efforts to explore further and faster into the deep space. How will the International Space Station come down and where it will land? The space station descent won't be a random tumble back to Earth. Once the space station is emptied and stripped of whatever needs to be saved, operators on the ground will control its descent using thrusters, gradually putting it on the course for its eventual crash. Its final resting place will be submerged in a patch of water dubbed the spacecraft cemetery, more formally called the South Pacific Oceanic Uninhabited Area. Hundreds of spacecraft have plopped in this zone, which is the furthest location from any land. What will take its place? The International Space Station is the only fully operational and habitable space station up there at the moment, but it wasn't the first, and it certainly won't be the last. With its sights set further afield to deep space, the US Space Agency is funding commercial partners and outsourcing its low Earth orbit activities to companies such as Jeff Bezos, Blue Origin, and Lockheed Martin. It has already permitted Axiom Space to attach modules to the space station, which will eventually detach to become their own low Earth orbit facility. Enrico Palmero, head of the Australian Space Agency, says this is the new suit of space station, particularly those from commercial operators, presents a terrific opportunity for the Australian space sector. Also, he says the industry will have a range of choices to suit customer needs and fast-track their access to the space, which will ensure human research and development opportunities are maximized. So what do you think? Are you excited about the new private space station? Will the space of research and exploration thrive as International Space Station?